And welcome back, everyone, to the Pokemon Team Creation Series from Mr. John. Mr. John's not home, but Mr. John gave a request. I'm sounding a bit more like a weird mix of Consuela and Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh, Mr. John's not here. But from Mr. Joe, we have Ed from Edd, and Eddy. The muscle and the lovable oaf of the group. Ed is not the brightest. Let's be honest. Is Ed like completely and utterly stupid? The jury's kind of out on that. Ed actually does have some weird smarts occasionally, which I will bring up here. But as it stands, Ed is just kind of like the lovable doofus, and he's the older brother to Sarah, which that's nice enough. So what is Ed's starter Pokemon? Well, look, he's simple. He's a little dim-witted, slow. I had to be Slowbro, man. But what I like about using a Slowbro here is, yes, it is a very slow Pokemon. It just turns a reception. But it's also psychic. It's not unintelligent. It is literally just really, biologically, really slow. So I actually like the idea that this is also kind of referencing those few moments that Ed actually does show some thinking prowess. But what are you going to do with Ed if not give him his love of chickens? I love chickens, Eddie. Blaziken's the only chicken we have. Okay, technically I could have gone Torchic, but it's a chick. It's not really a chicken. It's a baby chicken. And I could have gone Combuskin. The Combuskin might have worked a little bit better in my mind because it's like kind of like the adolescent form, and he is. Actually, do we know how old Ed is? He seems like the oldest, like somewhere around 14. The way he dresses, maybe. But honestly, Blaziken being a rooster is the best you're gonna. I think the closer you really get to a true chicken Pokemon. Which, when you break it down, we really actually don't have much in the way of chickens. Like, there's plenty of birds in Pokemon, but this is kind of your only true chicken. I just kind of find that interesting. But more to the point, he loves chickens, baby. Then there's also those times. Ed also is a huge eater. Like, he can eat, but he's also, we've seen go through some major moon swings, particularly when he has a pebble in the shoe, or when he is hangry, when he's hungry. So I actually went with Morpeko on that. I think that's a fun little guy. He'd be a snack companion. They'd get along great, I think. He's also known for his insane strength, like his obscene strength, and being kind of a just simple klutz and not meaning to hurt people. I went with another simple klutzy Pokemon that doesn't mean to hurt people. Beware. I was going to say Stuffle, but Beware. I think that actually fits Ed pretty well in terms of how it works. And it could also be kind of like a hand-me-down or something that it evolved and Sarah didn't want it because it's too violent. So basically Ed takes care of it instead. It's like, hi, Beware. I love you, Beware. Like, it grabs him. She's like, oh, it's so strong. And just gives him a hug. One of the other things, though, that Ed is very known for is his love of sci-fi monster movies. Now, there's a lot I could have gone with. The one he references in that episode where they're trying to watch the screen for while they're at Rolf's place is Cyclops movies. We don't really have a Cyclops Pokemon yet. I decided to go with Golurk. It's a giant kaiju, kind of mirrors a Cyclops, at least in that sense. I think that's a fine Pokemon to use. But this is going to be your dark horse here, and bear with me on this. One of the things that it is that he is scared of his sister, but more importantly, he's still Sarah's older brother. He still loves his sister, even though she does scare the piss out of him, and she is a terrible little monster of a child. I wanted a Pokemon to represent that fact, no matter what. I went with Latios. It's the elder brother to Latias. They're part of a duo. Latios isn't scary, but it's still powerful enough that if it wanted to fight Latios, it could, and sometimes win, depending on the moveset. Again, that little psychic bit there gets into the occasions where Ed's a little bit of intelligence can seep out. It's a dragon, so it can kind of act like a kaiju and to go with his love of monster movies. I don't know. I think this kind of just fits, but this would be his ace. Like, in his Pokemon journey, this would be Ed's last Pokemon to get. So, as always, how balanced is the team? It's pretty balanced. Like, you have a lot of times 2 weaknesses on this team. Times 2 weak to grass, times 2 weak to water, to ground, flying, psychic, fairy, ice, all times 2 weak to. But half the team is weak to dark, half the team is weak to bug, and half the team is weak to ghost. The trade-off is there aren't quite as many strengths, but the strengths you have, I think, do outweigh the weaknesses a little bit. You got a times 4 strength against rock, which is very good, seeing as half the gyms you start with are rock. Times 2 strengths against fire, fighting, ice, normal, dark, and ghost. Times 3 strength against steel and psychic, poison. Sorry, and so there are more weaknesses, but you do have a stronger strength against rock, at least. I think you do end up having a few more weaknesses across the board on this team, though. But with that said, as always, how well can you do? Can you become champion? And let me just get it right out of the way. The regions where you will not, I guarantee you, not become champion are Galar, because you will not, are Galar, Unova, no, sorry, Galar, Kalos, Sinnoh, and Paldea. Those are the two regions where I guarantee you can't be champion because you can't get past the first gym. All you're going to be starting with is a Slowpoke, which is, as the name suggests, insanely slow. Even with Water Gun. You'll notice I said Sinnoh, which is a rock gym to start with. Even with Water Gun, it's so slow that Cranidos is going to take that Slowpoke out. You're not getting past it. Galar, it's Milo, who's a grass type specialist, and Slowpoke's a water psychic type, so it's done. Kalos is a bug gym first, so that's no good. And Paldea is a bug gym first, so that's no good. So that's half these regions right out the gate gone. Even if you wanted to just ask me, could you beat the champions of those regions? The answer is a flat no to Cynthia. Spiritomb alone, you do not have a good answer for. You got more Peko, but even then, it's just going to be neutral. So you don't have a good answer. You're just going to be having to get through you're going to go through a couple Pokemon before you even take down that Spiritomb. Then he has freaking Roserade and Shell. He's got both water, ground to cover more Peko if it's still around. Water with Milotic, grass and poison to deal with things like Golurk. Not to mention Lucario, which can at least go toe-to-toe with Beware. Blaziken is that problem. And then Garchomp, which the only real option you have is Latios at that point, and that's depending on how far many of your team are gone beforehand. You're just not equipped to handle Cynthia. You're also not equipped to handle Diantha, surprisingly. Hawlucha is a problematic if you can't get down the first hit, because it's way faster. It's going to set up a Stars Dance, and it has X-Scissor. If it gets an X-Scissor off on that Slowpoke, there's a problem here. Because you do not want to bring in the Morpeko, despite being an electric type. That's no good. Your best bet is probably Golurk, but then you're going to be having to deal with Gyrantrum. Hopefully you have something like a ground attack on that Mon. Then you're going to have to deal with Aurorus. You bring in a Blaziken for that. Goodra, though, is going to tank a lot of these hits. Gourgeist, assuming the Blaziken's not around anymore, can be a little difficult. And then Mega Gardevoir is a Psychic Fairy type, and this team is not good against Fairy, especially the remaining amount of team you have here. You have a ×2 weakness to Fairy and a neutrality with Fairy with Blaziken. The Fire type helps, at least in that sense, but yeah. And Mega Gardevoir is just going to be on a different level than any of them on here. Dragon moves are not going to work, so one of your big aces is gone. Yeah, it's just you're not going to be in a good way. And then Galar, Leon, the Aegis Slash alone would take down the Slowbro. Blaziken, it's fine. You probably want to use that to take down to take it down. Dragapult, though, you have no freaking answer. Your fighting moves are no good, so you got to rely on your fire moves. And he's going to be doing Thunderbolt or Shadow Ball on you, or Dragon Breath to begin with. The Blaziken might go down before you take down the Dragapult. And then you're now dealing with a lot more problems from other Mon. I mean, maybe bring Golurk out, but he's still got Shadow Ball, so that's not good. Same with yeah. And then you still got to deal with Haxorus. Got to deal with any of the other 2 Mon plus Charizard. Just, it's not happening. Paldea, I forgot to write down if you would beat Gita or not. Gita starts out with a Apathra, so you're kind of neutral. You're tankier than her, so the Apathra or Espathra would probably go down. Veluza, though, might take down the Slowbro. Maybe. Then I guess bring out more Peko. Electric move, obviously, and Dark type, so you're pretty good there. Then I believe the next Mon up is the Go-Goat. It resists electricity, so that bring out Blaziken. King Gambit you can take down, then the Avalog, and you might struggle a little with that. Yeah, no, you would be able to beat Gita. You would be able to beat Gita. Okay, but what about some regions where it's not so clear cut? Well, Unova, it's a half and half. You know what? I forgot one. Unova, you can't become the champion of either. One, and it really just comes down to Elisa. The two Emolgas with Aerial Ace and Volt Switch, not to mention the Zeb Striker, is going to be too much for the team you have at that point. The Morpeko's electric attacks aren't going to be able to do anything. The Slowbro is going to be weak against the electric attacks. So are the two Fighting Mon for the air attacks. So, flying attacks. So, yeah, no, I don't think you get past Elisa. Even if you did get all the way to the champions, Iris is still a no-go because the Hydreigon alone is so problematic for this team. Not to mention the rest of her team. But the Hydreigon alone is just kind of a wall that you're going to have to really struggle to get over. If you can, then you still got to deal with Haxorus, you got Druddigon, Lapras, Aggron, which luckily Beware and Golurk, and Blaziken theoretically can take care of. I mean, Lapras, if you're fighting Mon or down at that point, that's problematic, and Archeops is also not fun to deal with. But regardless of that, you could beat in fact, you very likely would beat Alder. Who I argue might be the more difficult one to deal with because his team's a little more off. But here's the thing. Your Slowbro's gone. Slowbro's gone. It's getting taken out by the Aselgor and the Bug Buzz. Blaziken on its own, though, being a fire fighting type, means that it can pretty much clear 2/3 of Alder's team on its own. The two Excavalier, specifically, and Aselgor both down. Although Aselgor is still going to get a hit off before then. Buffalont, normal move, so fighting move, or normal type, so fighting move will do the trick. Same with Vanillix being an ice type. The only real issue you're going to struggle with the Blaziken is the Volcarona, which is going to really just be neutral in terms of damage done, and the Druddigon, which does resist fire. So you're really going to just be stuck with fighting moves. It's not impossible for him to take it down because, again, like I said, the Aselgor is in fact going to get a hit off on that Blaziken. It just outspeeds Blaziken. It's going to be resisted, mind you, highly, but it's still going to get a hit off. But beyond that, if hypothetically the Druddigon were to take down the Blaziken, like say the Druddigon comes out next, well then you bring out Latios and just take it down with Latios. Then he's going to try to bring out Vanillux. You just bring out Beware, take down with the Beware. You also then take out the Buffalont with the Beware. And then he's going to bring out the Volcarona, which is going to get out of Quiver Dance. That's inevitable. That would be where the big fight takes place, the biggest fight. Beware, unfortunately, is not going to be very good against Volcarona, so just get what hits you can in with it. Same with Morpeko, just not a good matchup. Golurk is probably going to be your best bet, because Golurk can learn elemental punches as well. So maybe a Thunder Punch, or if you got a ground type move, try to do a ground type move, because even though Bug resists it, Fire is weak, so it is going to be neutral. Or Latios. Latios might, but with Latios, the Psychic type is a problem. So let me put it this way. Do I think you would beat Alder? Yeah, about 8 times out of 10, I think you would. Is it going to be a guaranteed win every time? No. There's still ways he could win. So beyond this, the last 3 regions are a little hit and miss. Because I think in Kanto, that's almost a guaranteed lock. The only issue you're going to struggle with is Misty. Because you're going to have a Combuskin, who is going to be Fire type. And things like Double Kick aren't going to be good against Starmie, which is part Psychic. And you have a Slow Pup. Oh, you silly puppy. Are you enjoying the bed? My dog split out of bed right now. You baby. I love you. I love you, you baby. I love you. Snuggle. You make silly faces. Anyway, I'm sorry. I love my dog. Oh, I love you. Oh, you cute. She's on her back. She's like, I'm just stretching out, scooching myself on the bed. I'm getting distracted. I'm terribly sorry. But yeah, Misty would be the only one you'd really struggle with, and honestly, it'd be neutral. It'd be just a long fight, really. But I'm not saying it's impossible. And if you get past Misty, it's a lock for the win. Even Gary or Blue in this case wouldn't be a real big problem. Johto, honestly, the only issue you're going to run into is Faulkner, and that's just because of the leveling. and just how he's going to be outsped by both the Pidgey and the Pidgeotto. To the point where I'm going to call it a lock. I actually don't think you could beat the Faulkner. I just don't. Even with how low that level is. That being said, if you got the Lance, it's a maybe. You do have one legendary dragon Pokemon on the team, which is good. But his team is more flying than dragon, and he's got Gyarados with Intimidate. He's got Charizard, which doesn't really do much against this team. But he's also got Aerodactyl, which would be somewhat problematic against this team. You're being silly right now. You're just being a silly baby. That's what you're being. You're just being silly. So yeah, it's... And then the Dragonites are still you don't have any fairies on this team. The only thing you really got going for you is if Golurk naturally learns Ice Punch, which I can't remember if it does. Because I don't go with the TMs. Or Latios. That's it. So, and honestly, those Dragonites with Outrage might easily take down that Latios. So that leaves us with Hoenn. And I'm going to tell you right now, Hoenn's another iffy one. Roxanne's Nose Pass, quite frankly, has enough defense to, I think, take care or outlast the Solo Folk, if I'm going to be honest. Add on a bunch of... sorry, puppy. Hold on. There you go. Add on a bunch of Rock Tombs. It's debatable whether or not you'd get through there, because you will have Water Gun at least, and you will have Confusion. And their special defense sucks. So there's that. But beyond that, if you were to make it past her, the only other gym or any other matchup where I think there would be any real strong struggle at that point in the game would be Drake. And he has Salamence, he has 2 Flygons. Latios can only do so much. Ugh. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think you get past Drake. I don't. I mean, is it impossible? No, I don't think it's impossible. I just don't think you get past Drake. Ironically, though, if you could get past Drake, Steven actually would not be that hard with this team. You got 2 fighting types, which can cover a bunch of the steel types, plus a ground type in Golurk, which you can take care of a couple of the other guys, too. You have some dragon moves. You got psychic moves. Honestly, it's not the most unrealistic thing to think you could beat Steven with this team. I'm just hesitant to say you could beat Drake. It's really debatable whether or not you could. Luster Purge is strong, but it's not going to be enough to just one-shot Salamence at equal level. Whereas a Dragon Rush from Salamence might be. But, I don't know. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Later.